Jayo Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan Dham Jayo Sri Vrindavan Jai Sri Vrindavan
Sometimes when we hide our butter so nicely that Krishna cannot find it, he will pinch our babies and make them cry. Or sometimes he'll go into the cleanest place in our house where we do our worship and he'll pass stool and urine. But now, look at him. He's hearing us lodging these complaints. But he appears so innocent and fearful that we may punish him. Just look, but we know what's in his mind. He's only planning the next strategy of how to steal our butter and yogurt. And when Krishna understood that he was caught, he would smile. And when Krishna would smile, Yashoda and the gopis could not possibly chastise him. All they could do is smile. Here in the house of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna was once in a secluded place with his hand in a butter pot. And he saw there was a jeweled pillar. And in the jewels was the reflection of himself. But Krishna was thinking that someone's watching him. So he became very much afraid. He trembled. And he said, my dear brother, please do not tell my mother. If you don't tell my mother, I will share my butter with you. And it is very good. You will enjoy it a lot. And then he would continue eating the butter and eating the butter. Meanwhile, Mother Yashoda was watching this whole thing. She was so pleased to hear the broken words of her son. She very innocently and slowly walked forward. And when Krishna saw Mother Yashoda, he became very much afraid. There was butter in his mouth, there was butter in his hands, there was butter on the floor. And Krishna said, I didn't steal the butter, I didn't steal it. It's that greedy boy over there. And he pointed to his reflection. He said, he's very greedy. He came here to steal this butter, and I told him, no, you cannot steal my mother's butter. And we had an argument, but he stole it anyway. I became angry at him, and he became angry at me. But I'm not greedy for mother. Another time Yashoda came, and there was butter on his face, and his hand was stuck right in the butter pot. And Krishna said, Mother, I'm not stealing butter. She said, then what are you doing? He said, you put these bangles on my hands that have rubies. And the heat of the rubies are burning my hands, burning them. It's unbearable. I've stuck them in the butter just to relieve the pain. And Mother Yashoda took his hand and looked. She was so enchanted by his cleverness. She said, oh, Gopal, look, your hands really are burnt. I will never put these ruby bangles on you again. And she kissed his hands with great motherly affection. It was a full moon night. On this full moon night, Mother Yashoda was with her gopi friends. And little Gopal came out into the courtyard and cried. He was crying with hunger. Hunger for his mother's love. So Mother Yashoda, she entrusted Krishna to the other gopis. And the gopis asked Gopal, "Why are you crying? What is the problem?" And he pointed to the full moon and cried out, "I want to eat that freshly churned condensed butter." And Gopi said, "But that is not freshly churned condensed butter." He said, "Well, what is it?" The Gopi said, "It is Rajahamsa. It is the king of all swans that is swimming across the sky." And Krishna just pointed and said, "I want Rajahamsa. I want to play with him. Give him to me. Give him to me. I want him. Give him to me now. I want to play with him." He kept crying. They said, "It's not Rajahamsa. It's Chandra. It's the moon." He said, "Well, I want to play with it. I want to play with it. Give it now, now." They couldn't pacify him. Then Yashoda Mai came and placed little Gopal on her lap. And she said, "Yes, Krishna, what that is in the sky is freshly churned condensed butter. But you cannot eat it." And Gopal said, "Why can't I eat it? I want it." She said, "Because it is covered with spots of poison." He said, "Why is that?" He said, "I will tell you about this freshly churned butter. It has come from the Kshirasara, the ocean of milk." Krishna asked, "Mother, how many cows did it take to fill an ocean of milk?" Yashoda Mai replied that the one who gave cows the ability to give milk is the one who filled the ocean. He doesn't need cows. And Gopal asked, "Who is that, Mother? Who is that?" And she said, "The Lord of creation." She said, "Long ago, the demigods and the demons came together to this ocean of milk to churn it." And Krishna became very excited. He said, "Did they churn it the same way you and the gopis churn milk?" And she said, "Yes, they churned it the same way with the churning rod." And as they churned it, out from it came Kalakuta, a deadly poison. Krishna said, "Poison? Poison like what snakes have?" And Yashoda Mai said, "Actually, the reason why snakes are poisonous is because they drank a few drops of that deadly poison." Krishna said, "Please tell me more, Mother. Please tell me more." And Yashoda Mai said, "This poison was so bad that it was going to destroy everyone. And then Mahadev, Lord Shiva, came and he drank that poison just to save humanity. But a few drops spilled out, and this freshly churned condensed butter that is in the sky, it is spotted with that poison. Therefore you cannot take it, Gopal. Better you take the freshly churned condensed butter that I have made for you today." Krishna was convinced, and he took his mother's butter, and then late at night, he very peacefully fell asleep. One day, the wife of Upananda, Prabhavati, she came to Yashoda Mai and complained that Gopal's always stealing our butter. He's always stealing our yogurt. He's always creating messes in our houses. What we should understand is this, that the only reason the gopis churned their butter, milked their cows, or did anything was the hope that Krishna would come to steal it. That was their life and soul. Their lives would be empty and meaningless if Krishna didn't come to their house and steal their offerings. Krishna's the supreme proprietor of everything that exists. He is not a thief like an ordinary thief in this world. If you steal somebody else's property, you are sinful and you have to pay karma. But Krishna owns everything. Anybody who thinks anything is theirs is a thief. Because everything belongs to Krishna. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Only because the gopis' hearts are completely pure with the exclusive motivation of giving pleasure to Krishna does Krishna come to accept their love in the form of their butter and yogurt. His stealing from the house of the gopis was their ultimate joy in life. And just to completely immerse their consciousness in remembering this day and night, they would complain. So Prabhavati Devi, she said to Yashoda how Krishna regularly comes to my house and does this stealing, makanchor. And Yashoda Mai said, well, next time he does it, you catch him and you bring him home to me. She said, all right, I will do that. So Krishna came to her house the very next day. And she caught him by the hand and said, I'm going to bring you to your mother. And little Gopal, in his very sweet, broken voice, said, you will regret this if you do. She said, no, I'm going to report you to your mother. I caught you red-handed. Come. And she's pulling Krishna very lovingly. And Krishna, and as they came before Yashoda, Krishna hid under the cloth of her sari. And Prabhavati Devi said, I caught Krishna today with my own hands and eyes. I have caught him. He was stealing our butter and I have brought him to you. And Yashoda Mai said, oh, my Gopal has stolen butter. Well, where is he? She said, he's right here. She said, well, where? And she saw Krishna was hiding under her sari. So she lifted her sari and said, here he is. And Yashoda Mai looked and said, that's not Gopal. And Prabhavati looked down and it was her own son. No, the son is very nice. It's all right. She saw her own son. She was absolutely bewildered. And Yashoda Mai said, I think you, just like you are expecting me to discipline Krishna, I think you should learn to discipline your own son. She didn't know what to do. She was speechless. She just said to her son, well, let's go home. And she was walking home, holding the hand of her son. And when they were just down the road a piece, she felt a pulling. And she looked down, and it was Krishna. He was smiling. And Krishna said, you should never do that again. He said, if you ever do this again, try to report me to my mother like this, next time I will take the form of your husband. Close to this place is Brahmandagat. It was there at Brahmandagat that a wonderful pastime took place. The Vatsalya fault finding of the gopis have now been concluded. So now the friends of Krishna were coming to Yashoda to complain against him. Now Krishna's friends could not complain about his stealing butter because they were helping him in those pastimes. So one day, the Gopas and Balaramji came before Mother Yashoda and lodged a very, very serious complaint. We have seen Krishna in a secluded place eating dirt. Oh, Yashoda Mai's heart was so disturbed, so frightened with the welfare of her child. With her right hand she held Krishna's hand so that he couldn't run away. And she chastised him. Why have you eaten dirt? Why are you eating dirt? Don't you know that dirt is not good for your health? I'm feeding you so many nice things. Why are you doing like this? And Krishna said that I have not eaten dirt. Now this scolding of Mother Yashoda to Krishna is something so wonderful. Yashoda Mai is scolding that person who Brahma, Shiva, Indra, all the demigods and all the scriptures and all the saints of all the religions throughout all the universes, they are all praising him and glorifying him, and Mother Yashoda is scolding him. That scolding is not a fault, because Mother Yashoda's scolding Krishna nourishes the prema, the love, in her heart and in Krishna's heart. Krishna became very fearful. His eyes were very restless. And this fear in Krishna's eyes was an ornament caused by the love of Yashoda. Krishna said, I did not steal butter. I did not eat dirt. I'm sorry. I did not eat any dirt, Mother. And Mother Yashoda said, then why are all your friends complaining that you did? Even Balaram is saying that you ate dirt. If Balaram and all your friends are telling me, then it must be true. Why would they tell a lie against you? And Krishna said, they are liars, my mother. They are liars. If you don't believe me, then you look in my mouth. Now, for children to tell lies like this is very natural. And when Krishna speaks these lies, it nourishes the love, the Vatsalya Bhav of his mother. Vatsalya Bhav and all other rasas spring from prema or from pure love. That prema rests within the heart of a devotee. And it arises because of Krishna's intimate affection for his devotees. This is a very, very deep secret of what bhakti really is. When Krishna manifests his affection for the devotee, then that causes the love on his devotee to rise, to increase, and to manifest in extraordinary ways. And Krishna's affection for his devotees is why he is called Bhaktavatsal. And our beloved Acharyas explain of all Krishna's qualities, his quality of Bhaktavatsal is the greatest. It is the crest jewel of all qualities, because it is his affection for his devotees that brings about the pleasure of all of their loving exchange. Because Krishna's lying manifestation of his Bhaktavatsal, Krishna's lies is the crest jewel of all great qualities. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Yashoda Mai said, Gopal, open your mouth. Now this was a difficult situation, because the fact is, Krishna did eat dirt. And he was thinking in his mind, if I open my mouth, Yashoda Mai is going to see dirt in it. So I have to do something fast. So while Krishna was thinking like this, his Aishwarya Shakti just entered into his body. And he opened his mouth. And Yashoda Mai looked inside. Through his mouth and into his belly, she saw the universal creation. Mother Yashoda saw mountains and oceans and planets and demigods. She saw all living beings. She even saw herself looking in Krishna's mouth. She saw the entire universal creation, both inside Krishna's belly and mouth, as well as outside. When Yashoda Mai saw this, she became very worried. She was thinking, is Krishna sick? Is this some illness? What's happening to him? And then as she looked deeper into it, she became very much perplexed. She thought, am I dreaming? No, I can't be dreaming because my eyes are open. Or am I under an illusion? No. Why would the demigods put an insignificant person like me into an illusion? Or is my mind, am I having some mental disorder? She's saying, no, my mind is quite stable. I know what the solution to this mystery is. That my child has mystic potencies. Garga Muni has told us that he will have great powers like that of Narayan. But then she contemplated, how is this possible? Mystic potencies like Narayan. When he's hungry, he cries. When he's thirsty, he cries. When there's lightning in the sky and thunder, he'll come running to me crying, and unless I embrace him and give him shelter, he'll find no hope. He's naughty, he's innocent. And in this way, she completely rejected this nonsense propaganda of Garga Muni, that Krishna has great powers like Narayan. So therefore, your Mother Yashoda, seeing the universe in Krishna's mouth, had no answer. So what does a great devotee do when they cannot understand a particular situation? She just completely immersed her heart in prayer to Lord Narayan. Please protect my child. She prayed that, Lord Narayan, let me surrender to you. You are the cause of all causes. You are the very source of all that exists. Everything is emanating from you. And ultimately, you are the only maintainer of all living beings. Due to Maya, due to illusion, I have been thinking that I am the wife of Nanda Maharaj. Due to Maya, I am thinking that I am the Brajeshwari, I am the queen of Vrindavan, and all the gopis, and all the gopas, and all the cows, and all the calves are under my care. Due to illusion, I am thinking that all of this is all of these 900,000 cows are my property. But actually, they all belong to you, Lord Vishnu. Everything is yours. You are the only proprietor. You are the only maintainer. And you are the only shelter of everyone. Please. I am under the illusion that Krishna is my son. I am under the illusion that I can protect Krishna. But Lord Vishnu, it is only your mercy that can protect him. Please, please protect him. When Krishna saw Mother Yashoda in this mood, he was unhappy. He thought in his heart, If she's thinking like this, that Vishnu is my protector and that Vishnu is my shelter, then who will cuddle me? And who will embrace me? And who will kiss me and protect me? As soon as he thought like this, Mother Yashoda became so overwhelmed with parental affection that she completely forgot everything that she saw in Krishna's mouth. Just like you have a dream at night, and when you wake up in the morning, you completely forget your dream. Krishna closed his mouth and smiled upon Yashoda Mai, and she just embraced him, kissed him, and gave him the milk from her breast. If I do not feed Krishna, how will he live? Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki. Mother Yashoda was blinded by prem, by pure love. Actually, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains that one of the reasons Krishna manifested the universal form in his mouth was because there was also dirt in it. So he had to do something so incredible to make his mother forget about the dirt that was actually in his mouth too. Because not only was the dirt in his mouth from Brahmanda Ghat, but the whole universe was in his mouth. So in this way, Mother Yashoda forgot all about looking for the dirt, and thus Krishna did not get in any trouble on that day. Shukadev Goswami explains, he who the three Vedas worship as Yajna Purusha, he who the Sankhya Shastras worship as Purusha, he who the Yoga Sutras worship as Paramatma, he who the Pancharatriki scriptures worship as Bhagavan, Mother Yashoda considered an ordinary child. She was thinking, by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is my son. People think that because Garga Muni said that he will have great powers like Narayan, and people think that because he has killed some demons, that he's some great personality. But I know better. If Krishna doesn't see me even for a moment, he's greatly disturbed. He's so much depending on me. And if I don't see Krishna for even a moment as his mother, I'm greatly disturbed. Experience is the proof that Krishna is just an ordinary child and my son, completely depending on my motherly love. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna could not fully reciprocate with Mother Yashoda's selfless, pure love. Therefore, Krishna remained a debtor. And in that position, where he was happily a debtor, he remained completely dependent on Mother Yashoda and would cry for her milk. One day, a fruit vendor came here to Gokul Mahavan. And she had a basket of fruits that she would carry from place to place. And she cried out very loudly, "Does anyone want to buy any fruits? I am selling fruit today. Anyone who would like fruit, please come." So little Gopal, he was very eager to get fruit. So he just took a handful of grains to barter for the fruit from his mother's stock of grains. And he went running through the dust of Braj. And he came to the fruit vendor. She looked at him. His beauty, his charm, the merciful glance that he cast upon her completely captivated her heart. And Krishna held out And because his fingers were so small, practically every single grain already had fallen from between his fingers. There was only just 1 or 2 grains left, and he just smiled and in a very sweet, innocent voice cried out, "Please give me some fruits." The fruit vendor fell in love with this child and filled his hands with as many fruits as it would hold. And although Krishna's hands were so small, because she was offering these fruits with pure love, somehow or other, those little tiny hands were able to hold a lot of fruits. She turned around and looked into her basket, and it was overflowing with diamonds and pearls and rubies and emeralds and gold. But most of all, her heart was overflowing with the crest jewel of all valuable golds, Prema Bhakti. This ordinary fruit vendor received the highest gift, which is unavailable even to the great yogis, ascetics, and the devotees, simply because she gave a few little fruits with love and devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayachati. Bhagavad Gita explains to us in this way, that one who offers to me a flower, a fruit, or a little water, or a leaf with devotion, I will accept it. That is the ultimate success of all endeavors, that Krishna will accept our offering. Krishna accepts the purpose in which everything is offered to him. Duryodhana offered a magnificent feast with gifts of gold, silver, jewels, on silver plates, all ready to be offered to Krishna. But he did not even look in that direction. But Vidura and his wife, even a banana peel, Krishna accepted as the most ambrosial nectar because of the purpose in which it was offered. And what is that purpose? Samsadir Haritoshana, to please Krishna. That is the only goal of our life. Nadanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janamani janmanishwari bhavatad bhakti rahoite kitvayi. These temporary, frivolous things of the world are of no real importance. We will accept whatever we can use in the service of Guru and the Vaishnavas. Otherwise, we don't have any concern for anything else. We don't want wealth, we don't want position, we don't want power, we don't want recognition, we don't want sex, we don't want any of these things. They're all just a disturbance, a distraction, unless they can be utilized in Krishna's service. If we please Krishna, our life is perfect. If we don't please Krishna, we have wasted our life. This simple fruit vendor attained the supreme perfection simply by giving her fruits with simple love. And it is explained in the Bhagavatam that this fruit vendor was a Pulinda. That means she was an uneducated, illiterate aborigine. She was not one of the Gopas or Gopis. She was just an outcast forest dweller. Aborigine woman. No caste. No education, no prestige, nothing. But she attained the ultimate goal of life simply because she offered the fruit of her love to Krishna. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Today is Deepavali. So now I will begin the class. We have thus concluded the introduction to today's class. Shall I begin class at this point? One day, on the day of Deepavali, Yashoda Mai rose very early in the morning. The reason is, before Krishna woke up, she wanted to have very nice, delicious butter for him to eat. Yashoda Mai went through great efforts so that Krishna would have the most delicious and nutritious possible milk, yogurt, ghee, and butter. Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 cows. You could say countless cows. Of them, there were 7 or 8 which were the best of all the Kamadhenu cows. Yashoda Mai would personally grow a very, very delicious, nutritious, soft, tender grass called Padmaganda. And these 7 or 8 best cows would only be fed this Padmaganda grass. This grass had fragrance so sweet that it intoxicated one who would even smell. With that Padmaganda milk, Yashoda Mai would make yogurt, and that morning she was personally churning the Padmaganda yogurt for Krishna. Previously she had some of her assistants to churn, because it's a very simple job. But she was thinking that my Gopal is not satisfied with the butter at our house. Somehow he's always going to neighbor's house to steal butter. So with all of her love and devotion, she was churning the butter. As she was churning, she was feeling deep separation from Gopal. And thus, just to pacify her separation in great joy, she sang beautiful, beautiful songs about Gopal's Leelas. In Vrindavan, every day, whatever pastimes Krishna did, the gopis and gopas would put it into poetry and song so that they could remember it all day long. And Prabhupada explains, this is a traditional and very effective way of remembering things, to put it into song and poetry. Because after all, sitting through long lectures like today, very difficult to keep your attention, is it not? I'm sorry about that. But singing and dancing, everybody enjoys. And when we want to remember something very nicely, even with children, this is a universal principle. How did we learn the alphabet? I don't know how you did it, but when I learned alphabet when I was smaller than I am now, actually I don't even know if I still remember the alphabet. But they put it into song, yes, because children remember songs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. You know, if they just teachers say A, B, B, C, D. But they teach it in a fun, happy way. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. You put it into song and you learn very nicely. It's easy to remember. So the Brajabasis, everything Krishna did, they would make beautiful poetry and beautiful songs so that they can day and night always remember Krishna. So Yashoda Mai was singing beautiful songs about Krishna's Leela as she was churning the butter, and because she was singing so sweetly, the bangles on her wrists were like karatals, keeping in time with the kirtan, as she was singing Krishna's glories. Yashoda Mai had a beautiful saffron yellow colored sari, and as she was churning she began to perspire, and the malati flowers which were in her hair, they were thinking that Yashoda Mai has so much love, so much love. What are we doing on her head? We should fall at her feet. So thus the flowers fell from her head and fell onto her feet. And as she was churning the butter, singing the glories of Krishna, in her motherly love, her breast began to offer profuse milk. Now when milk started coming from Yashoda Mai and she was chanting his names, Krishna, who was in the next room sleeping, woke up. He woke up hungry for his mother's love. She came, Krishna came, and with one hand he held the churning rod to tell his mother that enough with this churning. I will not allow you to continue. And with the other hand he pulled on her sari and looked at her to tell her that he was hungry for her milk. Mother Yashoda smiled upon him, and she embraced him, placed him on her lap, and fed him the milk of her love. At that time, she heard that on the stove the milk was boiling over. That was not ordinary milk. That was Padmaganda milk from the best of the cows. And she was preparing a nice preparation for Krishna's breakfast. So she put Krishna's down and ran to save the milk for Krishna's pleasure. But Krishna became very angry, and with his upper teeth he bit his lower lip. Jiva Goswami explains that his white teeth represent the mode of goodness and his red lip represent passion. So we must curb our passionate mood with the mode of goodness. Not that Krishna is like that, but he's teaching us a lesson. He bit his lip and he was angry. And he wanted to demonstrate his anger to his mother. So while his mother was away, Krishna picked up a stone and cracked the pot of yogurt that Yashoda Mai was churning. And then he ran into the next room. And he went into the next room and he saw, hanging from the ceiling by ropes, was a pot of butter. So he took that butter. And then he went just outside and he turned. There was a turned over wooden grinding mortar, and he sat on that mortar with the pot of butter. It was feeding it to the monkeys and eating it simultaneously. Yashoda Mai, after saving the milk, she came back, and there was no Gopal, but there was a big mess. The clay pot was broken, there was a stone there, and she smiled. I know who has done this. It is my Gopal. This is the work of my son. So she followed the butter footprints of Gopal. She followed one butter footprint after another, after another, after another. Then she saw from the rafters the pot was gone, and she continued to follow the footprints, and there she saw from a little distance Gopal on the top of an upside-down wooden grinding mortar, feeding butter to monkeys. But while he was doing it, his eyes were moving around, very fearful, terrified that his mother might catch him. Yashoda picked up a stick and very quietly walked. Suddenly, the monkeys saw her. They all started jumping out windows and running outdoors, and Krishna was looking very, very fearfully, what's happening? And he looked, and there he saw his mother right behind him, holding a stick. Gopal, whose eyes were very, very restless, jumped off the wooden grinding mortar and ran away. He was running and she chased after him. But he was running so speedy that she was not able to catch him. But she would not give up her effort, because after all, she must teach her child proper manners, and she must protect him from all dangers. She kept running, and Krishna was running, and she kept running. Even the greatest yogis, through their tapasya and their meditation, cannot catch Krishna. Even the greatest scholars or jnanis cannot catch Krishna by their high learning. As Yashoda was running, she was perspiring. And the flowers on her hair started jumping off. There were two different groups of flowers. One was on Yashoda Mai's side, and one was on Krishna's side. Those on Yashoda Mai's side were thinking that Yashoda Mai, out of her motherly love, wants to catch Krishna, but she can't catch him. Maybe because of the excess weight of us on her head, we're slowing her down. So they jumped off of her head just to make her lighter and faster. But those flowers who are on Krishna's side, they were thinking, she wants to catch Krishna. She wants to bind up Krishna. I'm not going to be a part of this conspiracy. So they jumped off. Ultimately, Yashoda Mai caught Krishna. Yashoda Mai chastised him. She said, "Oh, friend of the monkeys, oh, breaker of pots, oh, butter thief, today I'm going to teach you a good lesson and I'm going to bind you up." And then she showed Krishna the stick. She was holding Krishna's hand and she wouldn't let go. Krishna was trying to get away, but he couldn't get away. And Krishna became more and more and more afraid. And he admitted. He said, Mother, please, don't hit me with that stick. Please don't hit me with that stick. Now, Mother Yashoda never would touch Krishna with stick. But just to teach him a lesson, she would just raise it and show it to him. Krishna said, please put down this stick. Please put down this stick. And Yashoda Mai said, if you don't want to be beaten with the stick, then why did you steal butter? And Gopal said, I promise, I did it. I did it. I have done this bad thing, but I promise you, Mother, I will never, ever, ever do it again. I'll never do it again, Mother, I'll never do it again, but please put down that stick. So when Yashoda Mai saw that Krishna was trembling at the stick of Yashoda, she threw the stick away. Meanwhile, Krishna was crying. Profuse tears were flowing from his eyes, and they were mixing with the black kajal and making beautiful ornamental streaks of black on Krishna's lotus-like form. His breathing was very quick. His lips were trembling. In fact, all of his limbs were trembling in fear of Mother Yashoda. Queen Kunti remembered this incident many years later, when Krishna was Dwarkadish, the king of Dwarka. He was about to leave Hastinapur back for his own home after coronating Yudhisthira Maharaj as the king. And Queen Kunti was praying for Krishna to never leave her. Vipadashantuta shashvatatra tatra jagat guru. Whenever we were in a calamity, you always were there to save us. Let those calamities happen again and again and again so we can always remember you, because in remembering you we never have to see death. Queen Kunti was remembering in that occasion the inconceivable glory of Krishna. How he is conquered by the love of his devotee. Krishna, although you are feared by fear personified, you are afraid of your mother. You're weeping and trembling, and heart is beating very quickly out of fear of Yashoda. And please understand that Krishna is not just pretending to be like this, to put on a nice show for us to speak about at Mahavan. Krishna was actually in that state under the control of the love of his mother. That is his supreme opulence. That he is, although he is the Almighty, he is controlled by the love of his devotee. So Mother Yashoda threw away the stick. And she said to Krishna that now I must teach you a good lesson. I have other things to do in the house today. I am going to bind you to this wooden grinding mortar. And Mother Yashoda took this rope, which was meant to tie the calves. She was going to use it to tie her own calf. Now how could you bind Krishna? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and he has no end. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's inside and outside of everything. There's no external or internal. There's no front or rear. He's all pervading. He's in and out of everything. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead keeps everyone within the entire material existence bound by the ropes of the three modes of material nature. So how can Yashoda Mai bind Krishna with her little rope? Bind that person who has everyone bound by the ropes of the three gunas. But out of her motherly affection, she wrapped the rope around Krishna's waist. And she found that it was 2 fingers too short. So she tied more rope to that original rope. It was 2 fingers too short. More rope and more rope and more rope. She was tying all the rope in her whole house. And it was still 2 fingers too short. Why was this happening? Krishna was thinking, as his mother's trying to tie him up. He was thinking, I cannot be bound by these ropes today. I must do my daily duties of stealing butter from the gopis' houses. And I want to play with my friends. Therefore, I will not allow her. So every time she took rope and tied it to the original group of ropes, it was always 2 fingers too small. This is Krishna's Vibhuti Shakti. He was manifesting his opulences and his Satya Sankalpa Shakti, which is the energy that he has that fulfills all of his desires. It was not his desire to be bound by Yashoda. Therefore, the Vibhuti Shakti created such a situation that even though she got more and more and more and more rope, and his waist was not growing in any way, it was always 2 fingers too small. Meanwhile, Yashoda, Maya, and all the gopis were smiling, watching. This was absolutely amazing. More rope, more rope. What was so amazing about it? Yashoda Maya was presenting to her gopi friends that what is so amazing about this? That right now there's over 150 feet of rope. And my son's waist is only the size of my fist. And I can't get the rope around it. And what's even more amazing is however much rope, it's always exactly 2 fingers too short. Mother Yashoda was perspiring. It was very, very serious labor. Whatever remaining flowers were on her hair was falling. And the gopis finally told Yashoda Mai, can't you see what's happening? Due to the good fortune that is upon Gopal today, you will not be able to bind him. And Yashoda Mai, she would not accept that. They said, just give up. You can't do it. Can't you see? Every rope in your house is tied together. Just give up this vain attempt. Yashoda Mai, with great determination, she said, even now it is early morning, even if it takes till evening or night, even if I have to gather every rope in all of Braj Bhumi, I am going to find out the extent of my son's waist. And besides that, I must teach him a lesson. Mother Yashoda's efforts melted Krishna's heart. What fills the gap of that 2 fingers too short? 2 fingers. And what are those 2 fingers? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the 1 finger is parishrama. Parishrama means the devotee's sincere endeavor. The devotee's determination to serve the Lord and please the Lord. Vyavashayatmaka budhir eke hakurunandana bahushaka hinantascha budhayo vyavashayana. Krishna says in Gita, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. Those who are not, those whose minds are irresolute, their intelligence is many-branched. So if we want to make progress in spiritual life, we must have determination. We must endeavor with bhakti nishta, with faith. In the association of devotees, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, avoiding offenses, hearing and chanting sincerely, we develop faith. Faith in the process of bhakti. And with that faith, no matter what obstacles, no matter what difficulties, we will endeavor like Mother Yashoda. It seemed impossible to bind Krishna. Even all of her friends were saying it's impossible. But she did not give up because of her love for Krishna. I need to do this for Krishna. So that is the first requirement. The first finger is the devotee's very sincere endeavor. And what happens when Krishna sees our endeavor? He reciprocates with Krishna Kripa, his mercy. The endeavor of the devotee and the mercy of the Lord can make us successful to overcome all obstacles and attain the true goal. By the devotee's endeavor, And Krishna's mercy, which is the most super excellent of all of his qualities, is his mercy upon his devotees. Krishna is conquered by that combination. Upon seeing Mother Yashoda's fatigue, Krishna showed the whole world that only pure love can bind him. This highest reality, that Krishna is bound and controlled by the love of his devotee, is the Lord's most beautiful ornament. Krishna controls the whole universe, including Brahma, Shiva, Indra, all the planets. But yet, Krishna is under the control of his devotee's love. Krishna's Atmaram, which means he is completely self-satisfied. But yet he's hungry for the milk of Yashoda. Krishna is Aptakama, which means all his desires are always fulfilled. But Krishna is always desiring the praying, the love of his devotee. Krishna is the personification of peace. But we find in this story, Krishna becomes very angry. Krishna is the master of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. But here we find that he's stealing butter like a beggar. Krishna's death personified, fear personified. But yet he's crying and trembling in fear of his mother's stick. Krishna can travel faster than the speed of mind, but yet he's caught by Mother Yashoda. Krishna's bliss personified, but he's crying uncontrollably in sorrow. Krishna's all-pervading, but he's bound by the rope of Yashoda Devi. Thus Krishna reveals that he is controlled by bhakti. And this is not an imitation. That is why it is so astonishing. Krishna was tied to the grinding mortar by Mother Yashoda to teach the highest lesson to all the world for all times to come. Bhaktyatvanyaya shakya aham vidam vidur. That it is only by undivided devotional service that I can be understood as I am. Yashoda Mai went to perform her duties. Krishna wanted to do another naughty activity. So he crawled. And little child Krishna, who was only at the time about 3 years and 4 months old, he was crawling, and with the rope tied to his belly, Damodar, the wooden grinding mortar was dragging behind him. And he saw 2 huge Arjuna trees that seemed to be reaching to the sky. These trees were thousands and thousands of years old. Krishna crawled right between those trees. The grinding mortar became stuck. And Krishna made one little pull. A tumultuous sound as these trees fell to the ground. And 2 demigods, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, appeared from these trees. Haribo. Beautiful, effulgent personalities, they offered prayers to Krishna. The story of Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, you know, they were sons of Kuvera. That means they had a very high birth. Son of the treasurer of the demigods. They had beautiful bodies, youthful. very intelligent. Janmaishwarya Shruti Shriva Edamanamatapuma. Queen Kunti said there's four material opulences that are great disqualifications for spiritual life. High birth, physical beauty, knowledge, and beauty. Huh? Beauty, knowledge, high birth, and strength. Huh? Wealth, yes. Sannyasis, we forget this sometimes. Wealth. So they were the sons of the treasurer. They had wealth. They had beautiful demigod bodies. They were the sons of Kubera. They were very learned in the scriptures and everything. What happens if you have these qualities? The tendency is to become proud. And when you become proud, you cannot feelingly call out the names of God. So Narada Muni saw their pride. They were in a lake near Kailash, bathing with beautiful ladies, showing off so nicely. And the ladies got out when they saw Narada Muni and dressed themselves, but Nala Kubera did not even respect a saintly person because they were so proud. So Narada Muni, out of sympathy for them, cursed them that if you like being naked, then stand naked as trees. When they realized that they were in trouble, they begged forgiveness. So Narada Muni, his curse was a blessing. They were trees here in Gokul Mahavan. We're going to go to that place in a few minutes. If I ever end this class. Narada Muni put them in a place where they could personally witness Krishna's Leela. They were standing there in a miserable situation for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, but ultimately they became purified through the process, and they got to see Krishna's pastimes in the courtyard of Narada Maharaj and became completely purified. Knowing that Narada Muni has bestowed his mercy upon these two, Krishna delivered them. Whenever a devotee is favorable upon someone, Krishna gives special mercy to that person. And like Nala, Kubera, and Manigriva, we may not recognize the fruits of that mercy for some time, but we must have faith. So they surrendered to Krishna in pure devotion. And Krishna sent them back to their abode. Meanwhile, the Gopas and the Gopis came running. And they see Krishna right in between these massive trees. Each one is inches away from his body. And Nanda Maharaj picked up Krishna. Beautiful sight. After this, it is explained, Upananda and the cowherd men met together where they would love to discuss the topics of Krishna. Love to discuss the topics of Krishna. Constantly talking about the topics of Krishna. But Upananda was saying that this is a dangerous place, this Gokul Mahavan. For the past 3 years, since we've lived here, Putana, Sakatasura, Trinabarta, and now these big trees are falling. I think we should move to another place where Krishna and Balaram will be more happy and protected. Just across the river Yamuna is the forest of Vrindavan, where there is Govardhan Hill and beautiful, beautiful forest trees and rich pastures for our cows. Thus, as a loving offering to Krishna and Balaram, the Brijabasis departed from Mahavan to cross Yamuna to the forest of Vrindavan. These are just a few particles, one drop from the unlimited ocean of wonderful historical pastimes that Krishna performs here in Mahavan. Yes, this is the place of his Bal Lila, his Komara Lila. How we have come here is inconceivable. Sitting in the dust of the cowherd pasture of Mahavan. Let us bow our heads and offer our thanks to Srila Prabhupada and pray that by his mercy and the mercy of his devotees that we could genuinely become deeply attached to hearing Krishna's names, his teachings, his pastimes, and his glories. That we can be truly absorbed in Krishna consciousness, absorbed in hearing and chanting, absorbed in offering our love through service. Because to the degree we become absorbed in Krishna, we become free from the shackles of illusion. Let this be our prayer. Satyavrat Muni in his Damodarastakam has prayed, I do not want liberation, mystic powers, or even elevation to Vaikuntha. My only prayer is let the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna be forever enacted in my mind. No other benediction is of any use to me. Let us offer this prayer on this holy day of the Damodar Leela. Thank you very much.